Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live Trading Thursday. I'm excited for this one today because this is our first time doing this format of Live Trading Thursday. We've left behind the what's hot and what's not, and we're going to be looking at the market, looking at some potential trades. So if you weren't with us last week and you missed that appointment, that's what we're doing. This is just like the live trading hour that our students in our program attend every day, but we're going to be doing just a 15-minute section of that. So what I need your help with, get your tickers in so that we can look at them. If there's any stocks that you want to look at for trades, maybe you're like, hey, I'm curious about buying some shares on Nike. Is it a good buy point? We can look at the chart together. We can analyze that together here in the next 15 minutes. So go ahead in that comment box. Go ahead and put in your questions. Put in some stocks you want to look at. If we don't have any that come up initially, I've got a couple on a list here that we can just kind of start off with to take a look and see what's happening out there. Do want to mention, however, that all these examples that we're going to be looking at today in this live training session should be viewed for educational purposes only and not taken as trading or investment advice. So I just want to be clear on that. All right, let me go ahead and let's get that guy going. I'm going to share my screen here. I want to take a look first. It's always good when we're looking to potentially do certain trades or looking at certain stocks. Let's take the big picture and look at the overall market, what's been going on. And it's kind of interesting that we've been starting out with, we're starting out the live trading session today because so much has been happening. Yesterday, the Fed report came out, and as expected, they raised the interest rates another 0.75%, so 0.75%. And that was expected. But the interesting thing is that the market went up. Usually that's not a good thing for the market. And the market seems to be very optimistic these days because they're turning everything around. They're taking bad news and turning it into good news. Yeah, the rates got raised 0.75%, but it could have been worse. It could have been, a 1.5. It could have been 2%. So everything just kind of getting turned around and made into a positive. And that's why you see the market here. I want to make sure you guys are, yep, you're seeing the screen good. The market here moved up quite a bit yesterday. Today, another big day because what happened this morning? Well, the GDP report came out, and some believed yesterday that the GDP might have actually improved some, but the report that came out this morning definitely showed that there was still a little bit of a decline in the overall GDP. Now, that's 2 quarters in a row, which by definition now is a recession. So by definition, we are in a recession. Again, there's there's ways to just flip that around and turn it into good news all of a sudden. And you can see the market did come down a little bit, but it bounced right off the 5 EMA. You guys have heard me say what that means when you're bouncing up off the 5 EMA. So, and that's pretty bullish for today and moving up quite a bit there. So there you go. That's kind of a quick look at the overall market. A lot of volatility today. So that in itself could be a reason not to take any trades today, right? Because there's a lot of volatility. Even me myself, I've been last couple of days, my trading, I've been going pretty light on it because things could whiplash either direction, and it's a little bit unpredictable with this these big reports coming out in sequence and everything going on in the market. So we're going to look at some tickers today. Go ahead and in the comment box, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, throw in some stocks that you want to look at. Throw in some questions about trades that you might be considering, or just have, just random interest in, like, hey, this would be fun to talk about. What if we did this? And let's look at that together. But keep in mind that especially with what's been going on in the market the last couple days, and with how far up we are above the moving averages right now, today would probably not be the best day to actually enter. And so all these examples should be looked at for educational purposes only. All right, I see we got a pretty good crowd on, so go ahead and throw those stocks in. We're going to go ahead and get things started off with Apple, just because Apple's a fun one to look at. Everyone knows the Apple product. Apple is a huge, huge company. I have not looked at the Apple chart yet today, so let's take a look and see what we can find. Here we go. Here is Apple. Interesting thing as well. Look at that. Earnings is actually today. Oh, I missed that. All right, there you go. So earnings is today. So that's a whole nother reason why we wouldn't want to enter a trade today necessarily, because they're gonna put out the earnings report. So I know there's a lot of companies that are reporting earnings today, but look at this. Yesterday, actually I think we took a quick look at Apple last week, and it had pulled back some and bounced up off the 10 exponential moving average, which is always a good sign for a short-term bullish trade, and then an explosive move up yesterday, and that coincides really nicely with this uptrending support line. So pretend for a second that this earnings date was not here. Yesterday could have been a really nice buy point to do a series of trades, whether you just want to buy a few shares, if you have the ability to, maybe even, a call option. There's opportunities for a bull put spread there as well. And if some of these terms are going over your head, that's okay. We're not going to do a full deep dive in the education on this, but we just want to give you kind of a taste of how we look at things. Jessica, I see you on there. Thank you so much for putting in your comment there. You said you're still keeping an eye on TSP. That's great. Let's go take a look at it. Let's see what we got with TSP and what we can find. TSP, two simple holdings. That's what we're looking at. First thing I can look at right here, you see these boxes up here, and they do mean something. The one that I look at the most is the one on the bottom here. That's the fundamentals box. So green, yellow, red, pretty self-explanatory. Good, medium, bad. The fundamentals overall on this one are just kind of medium. So they're not bad. We could look at it, but they're not great, at least not yet. But looking at this chart, couple things I'm seeing. It did come down, started to kind of base, and look at that. We've got a little bit of movement upwards now. We've got that low, and we made a higher high, a higher low, and a higher high again. Now, this thing obviously had come down quite a bit lately. This thing was way up there. Ooh, these lines are new. I think this is a newer company, actually, probably just, let's look at a 3-year. Yeah, okay. So it's just over a year old. The company might not just be over a year old, but they did their initial public offering just over a year ago. So we got a fairly new stock here, but there's still enough history to work with on this one. So Jessica, I see you're keeping an eye on it, and this could potentially be a good one to keep an eye on. I'm not too familiar with what this company does. There's research that could be done even just in dashboard. Okay, it's in the industrials. They do transportation. Great, awesome. They located in San Diego. They got 1,400 employees. So they're not a massive company, but they're not small by any means. So there's some basic information there, some news you could read up on if you want to do more research. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong buttons here. Back to the chart. That's where I want to focus here. You do have earnings coming up in just a few days. So that's something like, all right, great. You're keeping an eye on it. That's fantastic. I wouldn't want to make a move on this thing yet. Let's get earnings behind us, and that would really help. You can see that the couple earnings ago, they lost 53 cents a share. This last one, they lost 50 cents a share. So if they can lose less than 50 cents a share this time around, you might have a growth company on your hands there. So that, along with the chart starting to turn around, and if the price starts to get above the EMAs, and those EMAs start to cross and become more bullishly stacked, if you will, there's some potential for this. I mean, you've got about a $10 stock, and it has traded in the range of, 50 to 70, even peaking up at $80. So there's some potential for this one to be looked at. good one to keep an eye on, Jessica. I like what you're looking at. I like that you're saying you're not saying that you're ready to buy right now, but you're looking at it. You're keeping an eye on it. So that's a good one to keep an eye on. All right, Jessica, you got another one. Love it. I love the participation. Also, Fast had a good move up today. Let's take a look at Fast, see what we can find. Fastenal Company. They did have a nice move up today. You kind of see this downtrend though here, right? See that downtrend right there? Put a line on there. Actually, that line might be, it's a little bit difficult to get a solid line on this guy. You know, could be here, could be there. Let's leave it at there right now. But today definitely is a nice big move up, coming up above the 20. Now the question is this thing tradable right now? If we're talking stock shares, we're pretty much only looking to the bullish side. So I would want to see this thing do a lot more than just one nice move up today. That's great, but let's have it do it again. Let's break this downtrending line. Let's get above the 50 EMA. Let's come back down, put in a bounce, and make a higher low. You got one higher low here. See, there's a low right there. You got a high, but it's a lower high than before, but now a higher low, getting my terms mixed up, and now a higher high. So if this thing can keep doing that, higher highs and higher lows, it'll work its way out of this downtrending resistance line, and it'll work its way above that 50 exponential moving average. So, give that thing a few weeks and take a look at it again, and that there could be some potential there. But look at this right here. You've got a green box on the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are looking pretty good. You can see, let's look at the last year here. 42 cents a share, 40, 47, 50. So the last three, you got 40, 47, and 50. That's going up right there. So you do have some things working in your favor as far as the fundamentals go. And Jessica says, yep, she sees the downtrend. That's why she didn't enter. So that was wise. But this could be one to look at as well. Be interesting to see where this guy closes and if it's above that line or not. So there you go. We've already looked at a couple there. We looked at TSP and FAST. Now, keep those tickers coming in, guys, because, on these shorter sessions, we're going to have about 15, 20 minutes, and things are going to go fast. We're already more than halfway through today's. So if you have any questions that you want to throw in there or have any tickers you want to look at, we could do that. I'll grab another one from my list here just to take a look for fun here. Netflix is one that we looked at as our hot stock last week. And look at this thing yesterday. I looked at it and I thought this is pretty interesting. This move up right here, that could have been a pretty good buy signal. You got earnings behind you, so they did well there, moved up. And I remember last week when we were looking at this, it was pretty extended in a way, but it pulled back a few days, stayed above the 50 though, because remember, that was pretty key right there. That was a 50 moving average that it hadn't been above since, November or something like that. Moved up above and then pulled back and then punched up again. So that could have been a really nice buy signal. Even today, with just the slight pullback, could be something like, well, if we missed yesterday, today could be another opportunity. So that could be a fun one to potentially paper trade if you're wanting to do that and see what could happen there. If it were me, I'd probably put a stop loss down there right around the 211 area. So you're looking at about a 5 or 6% stop. Could also paper trade a bull put spread, maybe the short strike at the 200. Put that a month out, see if that works there. All right, let's go ahead and do BNL. Nice, you guys are getting them in there. So we're going to start rapid firing through these guys here, and then we'll be wrapping up in just a few minutes. BNL, again, you've got earnings coming up in just a few days here, so I'd wait for that to go to get past. This thing is up at an interesting point here because it has really rallied up nicely in the last few weeks here. But it's coming up right against the 200 simple moving average, and that's one that a lot of players look at. The 200 simple, that could be some resistance. You're also right up at these highs from back here in April. So this is one, you could definitely watch this. I would hesitate to enter today because it has moved up quite a bit. You got earnings coming. There's the overhead potential resistance. You're up at these highs from back in April. So I don't want to, let's, get past earnings on this guy, see what it's doing then. Love for this thing to get above the 200 simple. And if it can hold above the 200 simple, which in that case, it'll be breaking these highs right there. And you got earnings behind you and it gives you another bounce and a buy signal. That one could be good. All greens. Look at that though. Green on the fundamentals, on the valuation, the insiders, and the technicals. So don't often see that where all 4 boxes are green, but I do want to caution you, just because all 4 boxes are green does not mean that it is a guaranteed winner. There is no such thing as a guaranteed winner in the stock market or in life, actually, because that would mean that there is no risk. But this could be a good one to watch as well, because you get past earnings. If it does some of those technical things that I had mentioned, that would be one that could be of some high interest. All right, CPB. Let's take a look at Campbell Soup. All right, who doesn't like some good soup? All right, kind of, not the prettiest chart. Got kind of muddy in here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Made a really nice run up there. Came back down, moved up again. It did bounce off the 50, so I like that. Yesterday was kind of a crazy day. Look at that wick down there. It was actually it started up here, that is, and it was down almost 4% in just yesterday. Roared back. So a lot of volatility in there yesterday. A little bit of a quieter day today. With Campbell Soup, I do see that it's green on the fundamentals box, so that's cool. At the end of the recession or not, people still got to eat, right? So, and soup is always good, but I would want to see a cleaner pattern. We teach let's trade the pretty patterns. This one is not as pretty as I would hope it to be. So that's one that I would, let's pass on this one and see if it can work itself into a pretty pattern at some point, which is more tradable. You guys have been bringing up some great tickers, and we're going to look at one last one here, JKS. But you guys have been bringing up some great tickers that have some prettier patterns. So that's the beautiful thing about the stock market too, is you pull up one like Campbell Soup and it's not that pretty. Well, you know what? Go find another pattern that is prettier. So there's always that opportunity too. Okay, looking now, our last one here for today, JKS. All right, this thing's been a little bit in an uptrend just as of lately here. Got a line on here. I don't actually remember when I drew that, but probably adjust that to right about there. That's off the body. It came down, wick down, just kind of kissed the line there. Ooh, look at that. Perfectly there. So this uptrending support line looks pretty good. So, and you're above this horizontal line that I had in there as well, which that's pretty interesting. Look at that. That was resistance, and then it came back down, bounced up off of that support right there. So that's pretty sweet because you've got uptrending support that's coinciding with horizontal support, and the stock respected that line. It respected that line. So there you go. It moved up a little bit yesterday. Today has been a pretty volatile day. So far, today's been a pretty volatile day. Opened up at 66, made it up to 68, all the way down to this line again. 61, kiss that line, move up. This could be one that if you are an aggressive trader, there's some potential here because, it did touch this line again for, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th time, really. It's touched that one again about the 5th time, and it has moved up now from that line. It's up about a couple dollars or so from that support line. So if you were to enter that trade, where would your stop be? Well, maybe you're looking at something like $60, maybe $59.50 or something like that. That should still give you a pretty reasonable stop. And what's a profit target you could be considering? Well, maybe somewhere in this range, 70, 72, 74. I don't usually like to just pick the very top, because what if it doesn't quite make it up there? I want to be able to get out easily. But that one does have some potential. But again, with the overall market conditions where we are and with how volatile things have been, this is one that, if you're aggressive, you could take it. Maybe you're not aggressive, and so you say, well, usually my position size is, I don't know, $1,000, but I'm going to do it with only $500 this time. So definitely something you could consider there. But that was a fun one to look at as well. Guys, you guys did great. I only had to pull 2 tickers off of my list. I had 5 ready to go just in case to look at, but this is what I love to see. Jeffrey, I see you there. No worries. We're going to be back next week as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at every week. Next week, we're going to be looking at tickers as well and doing the same kind of thing. This is the live trading hour, but just for about, 15, 20 minutes or so. So if you want to learn more about how you can, be a part of the education and having coaching help like this every day, pretty much Monday through Thursday, let us know, because we would love to help you. One thing I also want to let you guys know about, I'm going to throw this in the chat here. We have a 10 Gen webinar coming up next week, Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central. You might be thinking, what is that? Okay, that is a new product. And I'm not going to get all deep in the weeds on what the product is, but essentially, if you want to be able to protect your family's wealth and to look at things from a very unique perspective to help your family's wealth over the long term, this is something that you're going to want to attend. Putting this in the comment there. This is a link you can use to sign up for this free webinar. It's both there on Facebook and YouTube. It's again, free webinar, so you're not committing to anything. You're not having to pay anything. You're just getting some information. So feel free to check that out. Again, that's going to be Tuesday next week, August 2nd at 11 a.m. Central. Well, guys, this was a blast. I enjoyed this quite a bit. So we're going to be doing this again next week. So feel free to bring your tickers and your stocks that you want to look at next week, and we will see you then. Thank you.